The subconscious mind is the creative power behind all life experiences. This simple yet profound truth is at the heart of Dr. Joseph Murphy's teachings, and it reveals a principle that governs every area of human existence. Most people move through life believing that their experiences are shaped by circumstances, luck, or external conditions. But the reality is far deeper. It is the inner world, the unseen realm of thought, belief, and emotion that molds the outer world. The subconscious mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seed is sown within it, whether good or bad, it will bring forth into manifestation. This creative faculty does not reason or discriminate. It simply acts upon the pattern impressed upon it by the conscious mind. When one begins to understand this relationship, life ceases to appear as a series of random events and instead becomes a field of infinite creative potential. Every thought we think, every image we hold, and every feeling we nurture sends a message to the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is like a gardener, selecting the seeds of thought, while the subconscious is the obedient earth that produces in kind. If we plant seeds of fear, worry, and doubt, we reap anxiety, limitation, and failure. If we plant seeds of faith, love, and success, we reap harmony, abundance, and peace. The law of the subconscious is exact and impartial. It works with mathematical precision. It does not argue with you. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. Thus, a person who constantly says, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed," impresses failure upon the subconscious, and the subconscious, ever faithful, expresses that belief in their outer life. On the other hand, one who repeatedly affirms, "I am guided, I am prosperous, I am capable," builds an inner pattern of success that must find its reflection in the physical world. This understanding reveals that our experiences are not created by chance, but by the silent partnership between our conscious direction and subconscious response. The conscious mind chooses, the subconscious creates. The conscious mind is the captain giving orders. The subconscious is the engine room carrying them out. Many people issue contradictory orders. They desire success consciously, but dwell on failure emotionally. They pray for healing, but continue to worry about disease. They affirm abundance, yet feel unworthy of wealth. The subconscious mind receives the emotional vibration, not merely the words, and therefore manifests according to the feeling behind the thought. The creative process is not activated by empty repetition, but by conviction, imagination, and feeling. That is why Dr. Murphy emphasized that belief is the key. When the conscious and subconscious minds agree, the result appears effortlessly. To grasp how creative this power is, one must recognize that every aspect of life is a mirror of inner states. Relationships, health, finances, and even random encounters reflect the quality of our subconscious conditioning. Someone who has been trained from childhood to feel inferior may unconsciously attract experiences that confirm that belief, while another who feels worthy of love and success will naturally encounter opportunities that match that inner image. The subconscious is not punishing or rewarding. It is simply mirroring. It is the great impersonal law of life that gives form to the images we hold most deeply. Scientific research in psychology and neuroscience supports what Dr. Murphy taught decades ago. The subconscious mind governs nearly all bodily functions, habits, and automatic behaviors. It processes information millions of times faster than the conscious mind and operates continuously even during sleep. It controls heartbeat, breathing, digestion, and countless cellular processes without our conscious intervention. This same intelligence, when directed with purpose, can bring healing to the body and transformation to the mind. The subconscious holds memories, emotional associations, and conditioned responses. By understanding and working with it, we can replace destructive patterns with life-giving ones. Consider how many of our behaviors and decisions arise from subconscious conditioning. A person who grew up hearing that money is evil may unconsciously repel prosperity, even while consciously striving for success. Another who has been told that love always leads to pain may sabotage relationships without realizing why. The subconscious mind accepts these early impressions as truth and continues to act upon them until new impressions are made. Reprogramming this level of mind requires conscious repetition, imagination, and faith. The subconscious cannot resist new ideas when they are presented with emotional intensity and persistence. As Murphy wrote, "Your subconscious mind does not argue with you. It accepts what you decree." This means we are always decreeing something, whether consciously or not. The creative nature of the subconscious is beautifully illustrated in sleep and dreams. Often, solutions to complex problems arise spontaneously upon waking. This happens because the subconscious, unrestricted by the rational filters of the conscious mind, continues to work throughout the night, drawing on infinite intelligence to produce ideas, insights, and guidance. Artists, inventors, and writers have long recognized this phenomenon. Thomas Edison, for instance, would take short naps while holding a steel ball in his hand so that when he drifted off and the ball dropped, the noise would awaken him and he could capture the ideas that had surfaced from his subconscious. The same principle applies to anyone who learns to trust and direct this inner power. Faith plays a vital role in activating the creative potential of the subconscious. When a person prays or affirms with deep conviction, believing that what they desire is already accomplished, the subconscious accepts that belief and brings it to pass through ways that may seem mysterious to the rational mind. This is not magic. It is a law of mind. Just as planting a seed in the earth produces a plant in due season, impressing an idea upon the subconscious produces results in due time. The secret is to maintain the mental equivalent of what is desired, to feel the end result as though it were already real. Emotion is the language of the subconscious. It understands feelings, not logic. When you begin to realize that this creative power within you is limitless, your outlook on life changes completely. You stop seeking power in external things and start cultivating it within. You no longer feel like a victim of fate or circumstance, because you understand that the same mind that created the problem can create the solution. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Therefore, by imagining yourself as healthy, successful, and fulfilled, you are giving the subconscious a new blueprint to follow. Over time, this inner image becomes outer reality. Dr. Murphy taught that one must treat the subconscious mind with reverence, for it is the gateway to the divine intelligence within. It is the silent builder of your destiny, the unseen craftsman shaping every detail of your life. Every word you speak, every belief you hold, and every emotion you nurture is a brushstroke on the canvas of your existence. When you learn to impress upon your subconscious only those ideas that are noble, pure, and constructive, your life takes on a new radiance. To live consciously is to become aware of this partnership between thought and creation. It is to recognize that you are never helpless, for you possess within you the same creative intelligence that formed the stars and governs the universe. The subconscious mind is the instrument through which that divine power works in you. As you learn to direct it wisely, with love, faith, and imagination, you become the artist of your destiny. The world outside becomes the reflection of the harmony you establish within. In this understanding lies the key to freedom. For once you realize that your subconscious mind is the creative power behind all life experiences, you can choose your thoughts as deliberately as an artist chooses colors. You can paint beauty instead of chaos, abundance instead of lack, peace instead of conflict. Life then ceases to be a struggle and becomes a joyful expression of inner harmony. This is the timeless message of Dr. Joseph Murphy, that within you now is the power to create, to heal, to prosper, and to live in radiant peace, if only you will awaken to the creative power of your own mind. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious through belief and feeling, it must express. This statement captures one of the most powerful truths about human nature and the laws of the mind. The subconscious is not a passive storehouse of memories. It is an active, creative intelligence that brings into form the dominant ideas impressed upon it. Dr. Joseph Murphy often said that the subconscious mind is like a rich garden, and whatever seeds of thought you plant, within it will grow and multiply. These seeds are not planted by mere words, but by the union of belief and feeling. Words are the surface expression of thought, but feeling gives them life. When a thought is charged with emotion, it penetrates the deeper layers of the mind and begins to reproduce its likeness in the outer world. The subconscious mind does not argue, reason, or question. It accepts what the conscious mind impresses upon it as truth. It is a faithful servant, obeying the commands of the master. The conscious mind. If you constantly affirm that you are weak, unlucky, or unworthy, and feel those statements deeply, your subconscious accepts them and expresses them as conditions in your life. Likewise, if you affirm that you are strong, confident, and divinely guided, and feel those truths in the depth of your being, your subconscious begins to organize circumstances to reflect that belief. The subconscious is impersonal. It has no moral judgment about what it creates. It simply manifests whatever has been impressed upon it through feeling and belief. Belief is the key that opens the door to the subconscious. A mere statement or affirmation without conviction carries little power. You may repeat positive words endlessly, but if your feelings contradict them, the subconscious will respond to the feeling, not the phrase. The subconscious mind always takes the dominant feeling as the command. That is why Dr. Murphy emphasized that you must feel the reality of what you desire. You must emotionally accept it as true now. When belief and feeling unite, they form an impression that cannot be denied. The subconscious, receiving that impression, moves according to an unseen but infallible law to bring it to expression. This process is happening every moment, whether we are aware of it or not. Every fear, doubt, resentment, and self-condemning thought sends a message to the subconscious. The law does not stop working simply because we use it unconsciously. Just as gravity functions, whether you understand it or not, the law of mind operates continuously. That is why people who constantly dwell on lack or misfortune find themselves surrounded by it, and those who habitually think in terms of abundance and harmony attract experiences to match. The subconscious expresses what the conscious mind believes and feels to be true. The link between belief and expression can be observed in every area of life. Consider health, for example. Many illnesses are psychosomatic, meaning they have their origin in mental and emotional patterns. When a person repeatedly thinks thoughts of fear, worry, or guilt, the body responds with tension, imbalance, and disease. The subconscious controls the automatic functions of the body. It keeps the heart beating, the lungs breathing, and the cells regenerating. When negative emotions become habitual, they send discordant messages to the subconscious, which then affects the physical organism. Conversely, when the mind is filled with peace, faith, and love, the body responds with vitality and balance. The subconscious expresses the belief held by the conscious mind. This principle also governs success and prosperity. A person may consciously desire wealth, but subconsciously believe they are destined for poverty. Perhaps they were raised to think that money is evil, or that success is reserved for others. Those deep-seated beliefs, charged with feeling, become mental blueprints that the subconscious faithfully reproduces. It will find subtle ways to keep the person in financial struggle, missed opportunities, poor decisions, unexpected expenses, because it must express the dominant belief. To change such a pattern, one must impress new beliefs upon the subconscious, not by force, but by consistent visualization, affirmation, and emotional acceptance. When you begin to feel rich in consciousness, grateful, abundant, and deserving, the subconscious accepts this as your new truth and rearranges conditions to express it. Dr. Murphy often described the subconscious mind as a universal creative power individualized within each person. It is the same intelligence that grows a seed into a tree and heals a wound without your conscious effort. When you impress a new idea upon it with belief and feeling, you are not creating something from nothing. You are directing an infinite power that already exists. The creative process is simple but profound. Whatever you feel to be true will be expressed. This means that faith is not blind optimism. It is the inner conviction that the desired outcome already exists in the unseen realm and must appear in the seen. Faith is the psychological state that impresses the subconscious most deeply. The power of feeling cannot be overstated. You may think a thought many times, but until it is felt, it remains a weak suggestion. Feeling is the energy that gives thought creative substance. When you vividly imagine a situation and feel its reality as though it were happening now, the subconscious mind receives it as an accomplished fact. That is why visualization is so effective. It generates the emotional atmosphere of fulfillment. For example, if you desire healing, imagine yourself whole, strong, and vibrant. Feel the joy of being healthy. When that feeling becomes dominant, The subconscious begins to restore harmony to the body, guided by the blueprint you have impressed upon it. The subconscious also expresses beliefs through intuition and guidance. When you have impressed an idea of success upon it, you may suddenly feel led to make a decision, meet a person, or take an action that leads you to your goal. This is not coincidence. It is the subconscious arranging means and circumstances to fulfill its new pattern. Many inventors, artists, and business leaders have testified that their greatest insights came not from conscious reasoning but from inner inspiration. The subconscious, once impressed, uses its vast intelligence to find perfect channels of expression. It is important to understand that the subconscious does not differentiate between good or bad impressions. It only knows fulfillment. Therefore, it is our responsibility to impress it with constructive and loving ideas. When you focus on gratitude, peace, and faith, you are feeding the subconscious with life-giving thoughts. When you dwell on fear, anger, or resentment, you are feeding it poison. The subconscious will express both with equal fidelity. The wise person chooses thoughts deliberately, knowing that whatever is impressed must find expression. One of the simplest ways to impress the subconscious is through repetition and relaxation. When the mind is calm, just before sleep or upon waking, the conscious resistance is low, and suggestions pass easily into the deeper mind. By affirming positive statements in this state, such as, I am healthy, I am prosperous, I am guided, and feeling their truth, you plant seeds that will grow into visible results. Over time, these affirmations replace old, negative patterns and establish new mental habits. The principle, whatever you impress upon the subconscious through belief and feeling, it must express, is not merely a philosophical idea. It is a universal law of cause and effect operating in the realm of the mind. It explains why prayers are answered, why some people seem to attract success effortlessly, and why others struggle despite good intentions. The determining factor is always the inner state of belief and feeling. You do not get what you want. You get what you believe and feel to be true. Once this law is understood, life takes on a new meaning. You realize that you are never a victim of external conditions. You are the cause of them. By changing your inner impressions, you change the outer expressions. When belief and feeling are aligned with the good, the beautiful, and the true, the subconscious becomes a wellspring of creative power. It expresses harmony, abundance, and peace in every area of life. This realization transforms prayer from a desperate plea to a confident declaration. You no longer ask for things outside yourself. You affirm their reality within, knowing the subconscious will express them without. In the end, the law of the subconscious is perfectly just and unfailing. Whatever you impress upon it through belief and feeling, it must express. It cannot do otherwise. The choice, therefore, rests with you. You can fill your mind with thoughts of fear or faith, limitation or abundance, resentment or love. The subconscious will mirror your choice faithfully. When you choose to impress it only with noble, life-affirming ideas, you align yourself with the creative intelligence of the universe, and your life becomes a living testimony to the power of belief. Reprogramming your mind begins with conscious thought, faith, and repetition of positive ideas. This is the practical pathway to transformation taught by Dr. Joseph Murphy and many great spiritual teachers who understood the creative workings of the subconscious mind. The subconscious, as powerful as it is, cannot change itself. It is like fertile soil, always ready to produce according to the nature of the seeds sown into it. The conscious mind is the gardener, the selector of those seeds. To reprogram the subconscious, one must become a conscious thinker, deliberately choosing thoughts that harmonize with the life one wishes to live, and impressing them upon the deeper mind through faith and repetition until they take root and become automatic patterns of thought and behavior. Every human being lives according to the patterns established in the subconscious mind. These patterns are formed through past experiences, inherited beliefs, and habitual thoughts. Most of these are absorbed unconsciously during childhood, when the subconscious is open and impressionable. Words spoken by parents, teachers, and authority figures, especially those charged with emotion, sink deeply into the mind and shape one's self-image, expectations, and emotional responses. As adults, many people find themselves repeating the same negative cycles: fear, failure, lack, and limitation, without understanding that these patterns are simply mental programs running automatically. Reprogramming the subconscious begins when one recognizes this truth and decides to replace old mental habits with new, life-affirming ideas. Conscious thought is the starting point of this transformation. The conscious mind has the power of reasoning, choice, and decision. It can observe thoughts, question them, and decide which ones to accept or reject. By becoming aware of the quality of one's thinking, one begins to exercise mastery over the subconscious. This requires mindfulness, because much of human thought is automatic and reactive. The first step in reprogramming the mind is to observe one's inner dialogue and notice the recurring patterns. Are the thoughts constructive or destructive? Are they filled with faith or fear? Awareness brings light to the unconscious. Once a thought is recognized as negative or unhelpful, the conscious mind can choose a new one. This act of choice is the beginning of mental reprogramming. However, awareness alone is not enough. The new idea must be accepted by the subconscious, and that acceptance comes through faith. Faith is more than blind belief. It is the deep conviction that a certain idea is true. The subconscious responds not to the words one says, but to the feeling one attaches to them. When you believe something wholeheartedly, when you feel its truth, the subconscious accepts it without resistance. Therefore, faith acts as the bridge between the conscious and subconscious minds. Without faith, affirmations remain superficial, and visualization becomes mere fantasy. With faith, even a simple idea becomes a seed of power that grows into tangible results. To cultivate faith, one must understand the laws of the mind. When you realize that the subconscious always expresses what it is impressed with, regardless of appearances, your confidence in the process increases. You no longer depend on external evidence to sustain belief. Instead, you hold your inner conviction as the cause that will produce the desired effect. This is why Dr. Murphy often quoted the biblical phrase, "According to your faith be it unto you." Faith is the inner knowing that what you have affirmed is already accomplished in the invisible realm, waiting to appear in visible form. It is not wishful thinking, but trust in a spiritual law as real as gravity. Repetition is the method by which new ideas are planted deeply in the subconscious. Just as habits are formed through repeated actions, mental patterns are established through repeated thoughts. The subconscious learns through repetition and consistency. One cannot expect to overturn years of negative conditioning with a few positive statements uttered occasionally. The new idea must be repeated often, preferably with feeling, until it becomes a natural part of consciousness. Affirmations, visualization, and meditation are effective tools for this process. When you affirm a positive statement, such as, "I am divinely guided in all I do," and repeat it sincerely, you are impressing the subconscious with a new pattern of thought. Over time, this idea takes root, and you begin to experience intuitive guidance in daily life. Visualization is another powerful form of repetition because it engages the imagination, the language of the subconscious. The subconscious does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. By repeatedly visualizing the desired outcome with emotion and detail, you condition the subconscious to accept it as true. For example, if you desire success in your career, imagine yourself confidently performing your duties, receiving recognition, and feeling fulfilled. Experience the emotions of accomplishment. The more frequently and vividly you imagine, the stronger the impression becomes. Eventually, the subconscious reorganizes your actions, perceptions, and opportunities to align with that mental image. Another effective technique for reprogramming the mind is the use of affirmations during states of relaxation. When the body and mind are calm, such as before sleep or upon waking, the conscious resistance is reduced, and suggestions pass easily into the subconscious. At such times, gently repeating positive statements like, "Every day, in every way, I am improving," allows the subconscious to accept the idea without opposition. Repetition under relaxation accelerates reprogramming because it bypasses the critical faculty of the conscious mind. Emotion is the activating force in this entire process. Thoughts repeated without feeling remain weak impressions, but when accompanied by emotion, they become powerful commands. Feeling is the fuel that drives belief into the subconscious. Therefore, it is essential to associate positive emotions, gratitude, joy, peace, and love, with the new ideas you wish to establish. Gratitude, in particular, has a transformative effect. When you express gratitude as though your desire were already fulfilled, you align your subconscious with the vibration of success. The subconscious, interpreting gratitude as a sign that the goal is achieved, sets in motion the creative process to bring it to expression. Reprogramming the mind also involves forgiveness and release. Negative emotions such as resentment, guilt, and fear create mental blockages that prevent new ideas from taking root. The subconscious cannot express freely when filled with conflicting impressions. By forgiving others and oneself, one clears the mental soil for new seeds to grow. Forgiveness is not an act of weakness but of wisdom. It dissolves the emotional energy tied to the past and opens the door to new possibilities. When you let go of bitterness, you make room for peace, and peace is the ideal state for subconscious renewal. Persistence is vital in this journey. The subconscious responds to constant, unwavering impressions, not to sporadic effort. Just as it takes time for a seed to sprout and bear fruit, it takes time for new ideas to manifest. Many people give up too soon, doubting the process because results are not immediate. But faith and repetition must be maintained even when there is no visible change. The subconscious works in silence, arranging conditions, influencing people, and guiding circumstances until the manifestation appears. Trusting this unseen process is the mark of true understanding. As the new patterns become established, life begins to change naturally. You may find that your habits, reactions, and attitudes shift without conscious effort. This is the sign that the subconscious has been reprogrammed. You are no longer struggling to think positively. Positivity has become your default state. Challenges that once caused fear now evoke confidence. Opportunities appear where before there seemed to be obstacles. Relationships improve, health strengthens, and creative ideas flow freely. This transformation is not the result of luck, but of deliberate mental conditioning. Reprogramming the subconscious mind is, in truth, a spiritual act. It is the conscious alignment of one's thoughts with divine truth. When you fill your mind with ideas of harmony, success, love, and peace, you are cooperating with the creative intelligence of the universe. The subconscious becomes your ally, your silent partner in creation. Thought, faith, and repetition are the tools that shape this partnership. By using them wisely, you awaken the infinite potential within and begin to live by design rather than by default. The process is simple, but it requires sincerity, patience, and perseverance. You must think consciously, believe deeply, and repeat persistently. Over time, these efforts produce an inner transformation that no external condition can resist. Your subconscious, now filled with new beliefs, will express them inevitably, for that is its nature. In this understanding lies the secret to personal mastery and spiritual freedom. You become the author of your destiny, guided by the truth that reprogramming your mind begins with conscious thought, faith, and repetition of positive ideas. And through this process, you unlock the limitless power that has always been within you.